Donald Trump is back in the White House, marking a significant moment in American political history. He won the 2024 U.S. presidential election, a victory that has sparked widespread discussion and debate. This is a big deal not just for the United States, but for the entire world. Trump is the first U.S. president to return to power after losing an election, a feat that has only been accomplished once before in American history. Trump was president before, from 2017 to 2021, a period marked by significant policy changes and controversies. He lost the 2020 election to Joe Biden, a defeat that many thought would end his political career, but now he's back, defying the odds. Trump won because he got enough votes in important states, securing the electoral college majority needed for victory. These states, often referred to as swing states, play a crucial role in determining who becomes president. Trump's win surprised many people, including political analysts and commentators who had predicted a different outcome. It shows he still has a lot of support among a significant portion of the American electorate who believe in his vision for the country. Trump's return to power is a big moment in U.S. history, one that will be studied and analyzed for years to come. People around the world are wondering what it will mean for them, as U.S. policies often have global implications. The international community is watching closely, anticipating how Trump's leadership will shape the future. World leaders reacted to Trump's win in different ways. Some were happy, others were worried. Some leaders congratulated Trump. They said they wanted to work with him. These leaders included Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel and Abdel Fattah el-Sisi from Egypt. Other leaders were more cautious. They remembered Trump's policies from his first term. Some of these policies caused disagreements. For example, Trump put tariffs on goods from China. The world is watching to see what Trump will do. His decisions will affect many countries. Only time will tell how Trump's presidency will turn out. During his first term, Trump's policies towards Africa were often criticized. His approach was seen as neglectful and dismissive by many experts and African leaders. He didn't visit the continent until 2018, which was seen as a significant delay for a sitting president. When he did, he made controversial remarks about African nations, referring to them in derogatory terms that sparked international outrage and condemnation. Trump focused on trade deals that benefited the U.S., often at the expense of African economies. His administration prioritized American business interests, pushing for agreements that favored U.S. companies. He didn't prioritize aid or development programs, leading to the closure of several initiatives that were crucial for African development. This shift in focus left many projects underfunded and struggling. He also cut funding to organizations that provide healthcare in Africa, which had a direct impact on the health and well-being of millions. These cuts affected programs fighting diseases like HIV, AIDS, and malaria. Some of Trump's policies had negative impacts, exacerbating economic hardships and social unrest in various African communities. Protests erupted in response to these policies, highlighting the discontent and struggles faced by the people. For example, withdrawing from the Paris Agreement on climate change could hurt African nations. This decision was criticized globally as it undermined efforts to combat climate change, which disproportionately affects Africa. These nations are already dealing with the effects of climate change, such as severe droughts, floods, and other extreme weather events. The lack of support from the US made it harder for them to cope with these challenges. Trump's Africa policy focused on US interests, often sidelining the needs and priorities of African countries. His administration's approach was seen as transactional, with little regard for long-term partnerships. It didn't always consider the needs of African countries, leading to strained relations and missed opportunities for collaboration. The legacy of his policies continues to be a topic of debate and analysis. It's unclear what Trump's Africa policy will look like in his second term. He hasn't said much about it. However, we can look at his past actions for clues. Trump might focus on trade deals again. He wants to reduce the US trade deficit. He might try to negotiate deals that favor American businesses. China is a major player in Africa. Trump might try to counter China's influence. He could offer African nations alternative partnerships. Security is another area Trump might focus on. He has expressed concerns about terrorism in Africa. He could increase military aid to some countries. Section 5. African leaders react to Trump's return. African leaders reacted cautiously to Trump's victory. They remember his past policies. Some leaders hope for better relations this time. Some African leaders congratulated Trump. They expressed a desire for continued cooperation. However, they also emphasized the need for mutual respect and understanding. Other leaders expressed concerns about Trump's return. They worry that his policies could harm African interests. They are watching closely to see what Trump will do. The reaction from African leaders has been mixed. They are waiting to see what Trump's second term will bring. Section 6. Economic implications for Africa. Trump's policies could have significant economic implications for Africa. Trade, investment, and aid are key areas to watch. Trump's focus on trade deals could create opportunities for African businesses. However, these deals need to be fair. They shouldn't exploit African resources or labor. Trump's policies could also affect foreign investment in Africa. If investors see instability, they might be hesitant to invest. This could hurt African economies. Aid is another important factor. Trump has cut aid in the past. If he does so again, it could harm programs that help people in Africa. Section 7. Security and counterterrorism concerns. In recent years, the security landscape in Africa has become increasingly complex and challenging. Security is a major concern in Africa. The continent faces a myriad of threats, ranging from local insurgencies to transnational terrorist organizations. Terrorist groups operate in several countries. These groups often exploit political instability and economic hardships to recruit and expand their influence. Trump has said he wants to fight terrorism. His administration has emphasized the need to combat these threats through a combination of military force and strategic partnerships. Trump could increase military aid to African countries. This aid includes not only financial support but also advanced weaponry and training programs for local forces. This aid could help them fight terrorism. Enhanced training and better equipment can significantly improve the effectiveness of African security forces in counterterrorism operations. However, it's important to make sure this aid is used effectively. Proper oversight and accountability are crucial to ensure that resources are not misused or diverted. Trump's policies could also have unintended consequences. For instance, a sudden shift in US military presence could destabilize the region. For example, if he withdraws US troops from Africa, it could create a vacuum. This vacuum could be quickly filled by terrorist groups looking to expand their territory. Terrorist groups could exploit this vacuum. They might use it as an opportunity to regroup, recruit, and launch new attacks. Trump's approach to security in Africa needs to be carefully considered. A balanced strategy that includes diplomatic efforts, economic support, and military aid is essential. It's important to balance US interests with the needs of African countries. Collaborative efforts and mutual respect can lead to more sustainable and effective security solutions for the region. Section 8. The future of US-Africa relations. The future of US-Africa relations under Trump is uncertain. His past policies suggest a focus on US interests. However, there is always room for change. African leaders hope for a more constructive relationship with the US. They want partnerships based on mutual respect and benefit. The US and Africa face common challenges such as terrorism and climate change. Addressing these challenges requires cooperation. It remains to be seen how Trump will approach US-Africa relations. His policies will have a significant impact on the continent. Section 9. What happens next? The world is watching to see what Trump will do next. His decisions will have consequences for Africa and the rest of the world. Trump's policies could affect trade, investment, security, and more. It's important to stay informed about these policies and their potential impact. The future of US-Africa relations is uncertain. However, by working together, the US and African nations can address common challenges and build a better future.